Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is Full-Time Devils. This is the Manchester Derby preview, and I've got an absolute rogues gallery joining me today. I've got Statman Daddy, I have got Paul, I have got Adam McKola, and we've even found a City fan. Alex, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Right, we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. We kind of had to, didn't we? We had to, really, didn't we? So we're going to have a chat about the managers. We're going to have a chat about, is this the worst derby ever? Paul, I'm going to come to you. It can't be the worst derby ever, surely.
Not unless we lose 7-1.
Is the hype going into it bad? Is it? Where's this feeling coming from?
The worst thing about it is that United have nothing to win but something big to lose. Because, okay, the best case scenario is that we beat City and delay them winning the league by a few days. Like, that's it. That's the best case scenario for United. And the worst case scenario is that they beat us and win the league, which is just simply not okay. So yeah, I mean, it's very unlikely to be the worst derby ever, like I said, unless we lose 7-1. But the kind of completely flat feeling around United means that it's hard to really care about this one too much.
But aren't we being mega spoiled here with that kind of attitude towards the derby? Because surely Manchester City fans, and I'll come to you now, Alex, have had that sort of nothing to win, everything to lose sort of scenario going on forever until you got took over by the Sheikhs.
I don't think so. I think here's the thing: is mathematically this match doesn't really mean that much to Manchester City because we've got 7 games to find those 3 points to win the league. But football isn't about maths; it's about emotion, and it's always been Manchester City. You know, a lot of the time it has been getting one over on United in the derby when it comes to it. And look, I think this game, Pep Guardiola talked in the week about playing a weakened side, and it doesn't matter. And the main focus now is the Champions League, and to an extent, there is that feeling. But you know, to miss the opportunity of winning the league at home on a lovely sunny day and beating the old foe, mate, it's just sweet. And I think, would it be the best derby ever for Man City? I think it would definitely be up there for most Manchester City fans. I think that opportunity, that to seize that emotion and to add that tapestry of Manchester City history, it is too good to miss. I think we'll definitely be taking it seriously.
That tapestry of Manchester City history, that might be a phrase that's never been uttered on the internet before. An interesting one.
Well,
and there's something else that you just said, which is even madder than Manchester City history, which is you said, on a sunny day in Manchester. I can think of one Manchester derby that's been sunny, that's it. 1, maybe 2.
I know, it's forecast to be hotter than Portugal this weekend, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping that the weather's going to show for us. It'll be a lovely day, and we're going to see the trophy parade around Manchester, and we'll all go for a beer in a beer garden to celebrate. Who knows?
David, why is everyone just so bummed out here? What do you think the Champions League result midweek had to do towards everyone's attitude towards this? Would we be more up for it thinking City was going to be up for it? Because I still think they're going to play a bit of a B team, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting what Guardiola does. Of course, they got hammered, didn't they, midweek? Absolutely battered, and United need to take a number of lessons from what Liverpool did to United. But at the same time, it's just one of these games that Guardiola may go, I'm just going to play my starting 11. I'm going to play the full strength side, which would be for a better game of football. And if United were to beat City at full strength, that would be a little bit of a momentum builder. Of course, going out the Champions League to Sevilla was absolutely stinking. And the FA Cup is the thing that we can win, and that'd be a lot of fun. But it is, being behind your City rivals is something that hurts a little bit. But Alex talks about history. Well, that started in 2006. If they want to paint the history and keep going, they've got to do it in Europe, and they're not doing it in Europe, and they've spent so much money. So that result that Liverpool got against City was sort of half made me happy about the world, but still, if United beat City in their full strength, I would be happy.
Sorry. We can't be happy about Liverpool winning.
No, we can. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But Adam, let's talk about the Manchester derby, because as far as I see it, it's still mathematically possible. This league is still on until it's not on. Now, right, listen, let's just get serious here. This league is in our hands, kind of.
The momentum turn could be massive if we beat them on Saturday.
It's not over. Let's be honest with ourselves. We all say it's over. It's not actually over, is it? I mean, you're talking an unprecedented, never-been-seen-before collapse.
I don't know what to say to that. Like, what?
I can already see you commenting. I'm not serious, you maniacs. Only a little serious.
You are serious.
Only half joking.
Yeah. It's sad times, really, isn't it?
We have to stop them winning the league, don't we? We can't allow them to win the league against us because we're still going about 6-1.
If Pep Guardiola and Manchester City fans could have picked how they would win the league this season, this would have been the way they'd win it. Now, I know they've still got to go and beat us, but that's very possible with the way we'll set up at their ground. I can't see. Look, Dave said we should learn something from Liverpool game. There's been a couple of teams that have done it well against Manchester City. Don't forget Wigan, Bristol City. A few other teams have shown that you can play well and get something against them. But Jose's not going to do that. So we're going to sit back, invite them onto us, hopefully hit them on the break. I'd imagine we might try and do something like we did against Liverpool, possibly using Lukaku and either Rashford or Martial just on the shoulder of the centre halves. But I can't see us getting, if we get a result, amazing, like a win, because I don't count a draw as a result, even though they don't win the league. But yeah, I just don't want to see him lift that title. I don't know what you want me to say. There was no question. You were just saying it's still on. It's not on. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what. Am I supposed to be positive? We need Sam. No, I know what we need to do. Paul, be positive.
Oh, that's not something that is in my purview when it comes to United at the moment. The thing is, I've always been called an optimist in my life, but I've always maintained, no, I'm actually a realist, and sometimes that means having an optimistic outlook, and sometimes it means saying
the league's still on! Yes! Come on!
Nothing about this game matters apart from the potential to avoid humiliation. Great. Like, the best case scenario, you know, like you said, Adam, I was glad to hear you say that, because when Dave said United need to learn from what Liverpool did, the chances of that, my goodness, I've got a bridge to sell you if you think Mourinho's going to develop a high-pressing style and really pressurise the spaces and all this kind of stuff. No, Mourinho's going to set up in a pathetic, ineffective, low block like he's done in almost every big game this season, and it's worked a couple of times, but it ain't going to work against City. And, you know, I don't know. I think, in a way, this game, being what it is what Mourinho deserves for the way he's managing United at the moment. For the kind of, not so much like we're 14 points ahead of where we were at the same time last season. Mourinho could be spinning all this as progress, but instead he's calling out the fans, he's calling out his players, he's continuing to ignore the fact that his negativity is what derailed our season. And so, yeah, we're walking into the Etihad, and Alex is like, yeah, this could be one of the best derbies ever, and the rest of us are going.
All right, on that note, don't you find it weird that it seems that Jose's kind of got Klopp's number? Klopp seems to have Pep's number, but unfortunately, I think Pep's got Jose's number in this one as well. It's a mad little triangle that's spinning round. So, Tintin and Snowy, I'm going to come to you next. And we're going to talk about managers. So we saw Pep have a bit of a wobble after the Scousers waved at the bus and sang some songs and stuff, and I know that they're not used to that kind of noise, so that intimidated them a little bit. Jose's not exactly on solid ground as a United manager. Could you have imagined this a couple of seasons ago when the whole footballing world's focus shifted to Manchester, when you appointed that fella and we appointed the greatest manager in the world?
Sorry, was that a serious question? I think
this is not serious face, so yes.
Honestly, I think things have turned out a little differently to how people thought they would a couple of years ago. I think, yeah, like you said, the football universe like can be centred around that rival between Guardiola and Mourinho. And I remember that first derby at Old Trafford and Jesus, you know, it being. There's so much tension and so much hype, and honestly, I didn't think this season would go as it is. If City win on Saturday, City then go out and they've won it quicker than any team ever. They've won it. They equaled 28 games, the most wins of any team in a Premier League season ever, which was City's record in 2012. I think it's weird because there's been so much negativity around United fans and around the media, and there's this kind of narrative that like Lukaku was a flop and that Pogba's played badly and all that kind of stuff. There's that narrative, and I genuinely believe that it is a little bit undeserved. I don't think United's season was ever derailed. I think it's just a testament to the season that City are having has just been in the league. It's been absolutely unbelievable. And I think that's, Paul is shaking his head like furiously. But I do think as well with Guardiola and Mourinho, I think it's heating up. Does Guardiola have Mourinho's number? He's beaten him more than any other manager. Guardiola loves playing Mourinho, even though he'd never admit it himself. And I do think it is, I do look forward now to derbies more than I did back in the olden days. Because it does feel like Guardiola has Mourinho figured out a little bit more. But every manager's got strengths and weaknesses. There's no perfect manager now in the Premier League. Anyone could beat anyone. And you bring in Jurgen Klopp. Klopp's got Guardiola figured out, for sure. And if Mourinho learns from that, Matic follows De Bruyne around, the same way that Henderson followed De Bruyne around on Wednesday night. It slows the play right down. It stops us creating chances. And we looked very one-dimensional against Liverpool.
We're back. Apologies to the live viewers. A little bit of a streaming issue there, but we have got some comments from you guys, so we're going to go straight into the comments and then we'll get back into the topics. So Matt Moore says, tell him he's got a nice dog. Got a nice dog, Tintin.
Cheers, man.
94 Hussein says, Young out, Shaw in. I don't think that's going to happen. Mohammed Heikel says, City don't care for the derby, maybe because of the Champions League. I do find this a really interesting point. That I'm torn, because obviously Pep would love to win it against Mourinho, against United. But I still think he thinks he's got a chance next week. And it is only Tuesday, so I don't think you can twist for both. I think you've got to choose one or the other, to be honest. And I think he'll choose the Champions League. JB says, love the guests on the show today. Well, thank you, JB. Very nice of you. Prashant says, miracles can happen, Howson. Still in the fight. For another half a day. If Liverpool showed us anything, kick the crap out of the bus first. It's not going to happen, but I see what you're saying. I actually enjoyed the visuals of what happened at Anfield the other day, but you can't be throwing bottles of beer at coaches. That's criminal damage. If they'd have just stopped short of that, it would have been cracking, but such is life. Right, Adam, so talk to me about the general feeling about Mourinho at the moment. Obviously, we've got Guardiola only managing to replicate essentially what Pellegrini did without spending 800 million. And it's not exactly going well for Jose Mourinho either, is it? We didn't expect this 2 years ago when they both took over.
Master of spin, you Steve.
Thank you.
Thing you was going to say. So yeah, before we were rudely interrupted by I don't know, was it Chris's internet connection or something like that? Yeah. I think Paul was mentioning how he felt Jose Mourinho had killed our momentum at certain points and with certain things that he was doing, and I fully agree with that as well. And Alex was saying it was pretty much just because City had been so good that it made us look worse. And I think it lies in between that somewhere. I do think we've made massive progress on where we were under Moyes, Van Gaal and all that stuff. Let's get that out of the way first. That's obvious. And I do think we've made progress on last season. And I think we're a better team. But last season, I think our better players were probably more confident in themselves and in the way they were playing. And I feel at times we're playing within ourselves, and we need to. I would like to see between now and the end of the season us build up some sort of momentum where we're feeling confident and positive again, because it just hasn't felt that for a long time. And whilst you want to say, we finished second, we won the FA Cup, look, City have been great, we're in a position where we'll go on next season and we'll challenge them, hopefully win the title. To be in that, you have to have some sort of positive momentum, and it just doesn't feel like it's there. And it's crazy because when you exclude that Sevilla game, which I think plays a massive part in the way we're feeling at the moment, when you exclude that Sevilla game, our results have been absolutely fantastic in the last couple of weeks and months. We've got through against Brighton, we beat Swansea in the league, Liverpool, Chelsea, Crystal Palace. We've had some fantastic results. That Sevilla game, again, was a killer. And it was something that should never have happened, because we had more than enough to win that game. We had more than enough to approach that game in a different manner, and we just didn't do it. And again, it goes back to Jose Mourinho shooting himself in the foot when he doesn't need to, and kind of just kill the momentum that we do have. And it's a real strange one, but hopefully things settle down again before the end of the season and we can have a good pre-season, because there's still a lot of positives to be had for United fans.
I don't think we're that far away with everything. Dave, there's obviously going to be some changes coming up in the summer. Unless some seriously mad shit happens, this is the last derby of this season. And by seriously mad shit, I'm talking about like really, really mad shit. Obviously, there's no more fixtures left for it. But Dave, is it anybody in particular's last ever Manchester derby? Do you think there's going to be players moved on from, the red 7/8 of Manchester or the blue bit?
I think there could be a few players moving on, a few players that haven't hit the heights, from coming to the likes of Manchester United and the likes of City. I think there's some players that just maybe have been around the club a bit too long. There could be some players that are just moved on. But I kind of think that there's sort of in the last few games that we've played against the top six sides, we played really well. You take the Liverpool game 2-1 win, you take the Chelsea game at home where we played really well. And obviously the Sevilla game, like Adam said, takes momentum out, but still in the league, we're doing really well and we've progressed. And that is the big thing. It's all about that progression of Manchester United. You've got to accept that Man United aren't going to be winning the league title every single season because we don't have Sir Alex Ferguson as a manager, a genius, someone that could get so much out of, such little talent. We don't have that anymore. So at the moment, it's all about building and building
Dave,
further.
But I feel like you can't look at Sir Alex and compare, because we should be getting more out of what we have at the moment. Like, you can't say, Sir Alex got more out of what he had. He was a genius. Of course you can say that.
Was.
I mean, but like, okay, so are we playing at the moment like a team that has Martial, Rashford, Lukaku, Sanchez, Pogba, these players? Are we playing like a team that has these players? We went into a game in the Champions League against Sevilla. We played Fellaini and Matic in midfield at home. Like, how can you say like it's a positive? Like it's like really weird at the moment, man. This is what I mean. This is like
we're not the complete package. I think that's the difference. I think that's all Dave's trying to say is we're not the complete package.
Yeah, like what I'm saying is that you've just mentioned Sanchez, Martial, and Rashford. They all play the same position. Like you have to play one of them. You can't play all of them.
Whose fault is that?
Yeah, but that's because they all play on the left wing. Again, that looks down to Manchester United as a club and their potential that they need a director of football. They need a direction behind the scenes, which is something that could be progressed in the summer and so forth. They're looking for a director of football. I think that's perfect. I think that in a football club these days, and the European model of having a head coach and having a director of football above him is sort of what you had in Ferguson. Ferguson was more a director of football that come into the dressing room and give people rollickings and change things tactically slightly, and his assistant manager would be the head coach. And that's the model that Man United potentially should take going forward to improve the relations between the pitch, the signings, and then winning trophies. And again, it's like negativity. Negativity is terrible in this world. It's a cancer of the world. Like, I'm just trying to put a positive spin on United in the Premier League against the bigger sides. They've been better this season. They've got results where they should have got results. Take the game against Liverpool. That was a fantastic performance. A player from Wivenshaw scoring 2 goals and winning the game for Man United. That's what I want to see from Man United. I want to see someone like Marcus Rashford playing and scoring goals and United winning games like that. So for me, I'm still taking this season in a positive light. Are we going to beat Barcelona? Are we going to beat Real Madrid? Are we going to beat the real side, the Bayern Munichs of European football this season? No, we're not. We lost to Sevilla, which was disappointing. But again, are we going to get past the creme de la creme of Europe this season? Probably not. So again, it's all about progression. It's all about beating the teams in the Premier League like we did Chelsea, Liverpool recently. And if we beat Manchester City, we've actually got to turn around and think, this has been an all right end, and take that negativity out of the Sevilla game. It was a Champions League game. We all want to win that. Won the Europa League last season. Great result. Knocked out the Champions League now. It's not about looking at it in such a negative light. There is definitely positives in the last few months. United haven't been rubbish. They've played some pretty decent football. It's this thing where we have to change as fans. That's the culture of the club. We need to change as fans, and we need to be, instead of moaning, instead of he's not done this, he's not done that. It's like the support that needs to come back.
But this is
Paul, you're doing a lot of shaking your head. Go on.
Yeah, that's the Mourinho propaganda machine in effect there, because I agree that certainly within the confines of the stadium we have to be blind and blindly loyal and supportive. But outside of the stadium, in the context of analysing what's actually happening, like the amount of things you just said that I take issue with, like as Adam said, when when you're saying we're not going to beat Bayern, we're not going to beat Barcelona, we're not asking for that. Like, we're asking not to be pathetic against a deeply average La Liga side. Like, that's
disrespectful to Sevilla.
But
you're saying it's a deeply average side. They just beat Man United. They can't be average if they beat United, and United are second in the Premier League.
They lost to Leganes.
Well,
they lost to Leganes 3 days after they beat Man United. Like,
because they played a weakened side.
So, but the context of Sevilla's season is a mess. Anyway, even leaving that aside,
and you're seeing Montella now only come in and do good things, but
you
this
also
happens
said,
though. City lost to Wigan. Let's just bring Alex back in here. City lost to Wigan. You can have bad days. We had a really bad pair of days.
I think Sevilla, as it goes, aren't an average side. I think they're a good side. I think that there's a bit of a reputation that they've got, and we don't follow La Liga as much and assume that it's because they might be 5th or 6th in La Liga. That means that they're not the greatest side in the world. But actually, you know what? I think they're a good side in Champions League. At that level, you're going to come up against good teams. You shouldn't judge a season. It happens.
Al, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Should Manchester United, with the players we have, beat Sevilla at home?
Yeah, you should. But we should have beaten Wigan away. We should have beaten Wigan away. We should have put 5 past
beat York City in 1995 and all.
You danced 10 men, and Al, we didn't lose in a way where we kept knocking, and it was a...
We analysed Sevilla to death. We all know we should have beat Sevilla.
But what I'm going to say is...
Hang on, listen, but shut up. There's a big debate on the Sevilla game. Shut up. There's a big debate on... Lads, can't hear you when you all start talking. There's a big debate on the Sevilla result. Go, huge debate. Chris is just like drawing like big fish, little fish, cardboard box in the background here. It's huge, not big, whatever. There is a huge debate on the Sevilla result if you want to go and check that out. It's time for the starting 11s. This is the derby preview. So, Alex, I'm going to come to you as our guest first. Because I actually think this is a really pertinent point. Is Pep going to stick or is he going to twist with this? Is he going to think that he can get Champions League? Can he get through the Champions League and just delay it? Or is he going to go, do you know what? The biggest party is going to be if we beat, the greatest side in England.
I think he's going to play a strong side. I think he's going to want to win it, but it won't be the strongest. I think there's a couple of players who will definitely feature against Liverpool on Tuesday. Leroy Sané played really, really fully on Wednesday, so I think he will probably be rested. But then also Sterling didn't play, so that'll be a black change. For me, I think Ederson will start in goal, as per. We've got Delph and Stones to bring in, so Delph at left back, then Stones, Company, and Kyle Walker to complete a back four. I think it'll be 4-2-3-1 with De Bruyne, who's played a little bit deeper the last few weeks. De Bruyne, either Fernandinho or Gundogan, probably Fernandinho. And then in that three, I think Bernardo Silva and Sterling will come in either side of David Silva. And Aguero, if he's fit, I don't know. It'll be either Aguero or Jesus. Twist my arm, I'll say Aguero. I think I'd rather see Aguero start against United just because he just seems to have a little bit of a better grip on the derby than Jesus. But they're two very, very good players. And whoever starts against United won't start against Liverpool. And I think that'll come down to how fit Aguero is and what Jesus is looking like. I think the talk about a weakened side, if they're, I said at the very start of this video, mathematically we don't need to win it, and that's how Guardiola looks at matches. And I think Guardiola isn't as tuned into the derby. I think in the League Cup last season, he played almost a second-string side, and he was like, "It's only the League Cup." And Manchester City fans were very, very disappointed in that. For me, the United game, the derbies, it's a game that I want to see us win, whatever the context is. And I think you guys as well, you sort of said that you'd like to see us beat City just because that's what football's about. I don't think it'll see a weakened side. I think if things are going well for us with 2 or 3 up, I think you'll see De Bruyne hurried off the pitch very, very quickly. But I don't think it's going to be 17-year-olds playing against Man United. It'll be a weakened side by Fabian Delph and Bernardo Silva, both of which I think are quality players that belong in any squad in the Premier League.
Joe, the league absolutely.
So you don't have a weak side, man. What are we talking about?
Weaker. We actually can win the under-18s league against City next week in a little bit of a Adam, give us your starting 11 for the derby. Mate, we're taking anything. League champions. Sort of.
Straws at the moment.
For the Group North.
When do you want my team?
Yes, please, mate.
Sorry. Say it into Chris.
Anytime you like.
This is what I think, not what I want. De Gea, Valencia, Bay, Smalling, Young. Half of that defence. Jesus Christ. Matic, Pogba, McTominay. That's all right, I suppose. If that happens. Martial, Lukaku, Lingard. Not happening though, is it? I mean, sorry, Alexis. Instead of Lingard, sorry. Lingard. But to be honest, I don't care. I'm not watching the game.
Paul, give us your starting 11, please, mate.
I'll definitely watch the game as Mourinho's mighty Reds take this magnificent starting 11 to the Etihad Stadium and smash Guardiola's City like the pretenders
to turn it round and be the game that starts our run to go and win the title this season. Yes,
exactly. Exactly the same team as Adam, except for I went for Lingard instead of Martial. The 4-3-3 with I think the back four is almost nailed on. Maybe there's some debate about exactly who the centre-backs are, but I'd say it's more or less nailed on. Whether it is, he actually does play a 4-3-3, I'm not sure that is inevitable by any means. Seems like there's a certain degree of logic to it, given that he'll want extra stability and extra bodies in there. The double holding pivot of Matic and McTominay, which the one thing I really agreed with what Dave said is that we played really well against Liverpool. We didn't play really well against Chelsea, though. But anyway, that's a debate for another time. So I think that three kind of makes sense. And then three up front, he'll love Lingard for the movement off the ball and his work defensively and his running and all that. Obviously, like Alexis gets picked nowadays because we signed him. And Lukaku is excellent and deserves to play up front.
David, we've got to stretch them, right? We've got to get behind the fullbacks that are inevitably going to live in our half.
I don't think we need to get behind them. We just need to isolate them, I think. And by doing that, is you're following the sort of blueprint that United did against Liverpool in a way. David De Gea in goal, Valencia, Bay, Smalling, Young. That's the back four. It's probably the best for United at the moment in these bigger games. Midfield, Juan Mata, McTominay, Matic and Marcus Rashford, and then Sanchez off Lukaku. That was one of the best performances I've seen under Mourinho. And I think without Pogba in the side, it gave United a little bit more stability in the middle. You look to what Liverpool did midweek, it was all about winning that second ball and having people that were aggressive in central midfield. I'm not sure if that's Pogba's role. I think with Pogba, what would be really good is if he comes off the bench around 60 minutes maybe when you need a bit of an injection of pace or ability to break through tackles. That's when Pogba could come on. United switch to a 4-5-1 with maybe a goal lead. That's what I'd be doing. That's how I'd be maybe setting out Manchester United in terms of managing that sort of, being from a draw to a stage where you're winning the game. But, Sanchez has turned up. He was good in the last game. He's been pretty decent in the last few matches. So I'd like to see him do a bit more. The only thing that with Sanchez in the bigger games is sometimes defensively he's a little bit suspect in a way that he presses very hard but doesn't drop back into formation. The interesting side, again, what Liverpool did quite well is they kind of man-marked Kyle Walker with Sadio Mane. He didn't really drop back Sadio Mane. He just stood on the, England right back. And that kind of helped. The build-up starts with Walker on that side. And then, of course, Kevin De Bruyne, as Alec mentioned, was sort of dealt with by Milner. And again, with Nemanja Matic sort of sitting behind, dealing with that zone. And then, man-to-man Ashley Young on Sterling, that could work quite well. But it is all about being compact. But being, aggressive on that second ball. If United go long to Lukaku, they need to be on it. Like against Liverpool. Again, Marcus Rashford running off Lukaku. Lukaku holding up the ball for the second goal as well. United need to be in and around the big Belgium. No Marouane Fellaini today. It's going to be Romelu Lukaku who's going to be the target for United from out the back.
Interesting. Right, I'm going to come to Paul. Let's talk about City. We'll come to Alex last on this one. What are you expecting from City? What are you thinking they're going to line up like? What are we worried about?
I'm laughing at the "what are we worried about" question. I'm worried about the fact that their manager has got them playing some of the most devastating attacking football the Premier League's ever seen. Like, there's only one or two teams, I think, that have ever been in the league that this particular version of City are in. Obviously, a lot of those teams are Ferguson teams. But anyway...
David Moyes United, obviously.
Obviously, that 7th place didn't win itself. I mean, I don't have anything to say about City that isn't wildly obvious. They have multiple threats. I think even if they do play a weakened side, it will be they really are in a position where their kind of second string attacking players have got a lot to prove and a lot to fight for to kind of nudge their way into Guardiola's thinking for the first team. So, you know, I think we know about City, though. The thing that Dave said that I think falls into the category of optimism rather than realism is that description of the aggression with which United will play, because we certainly haven't done that away from home. Like, we did do it against Liverpool, I agree, but you know, Klopp's Liverpool, for whatever you want to say about their vulnerabilities and weaknesses, are drilled to put in that performance. They've spent all the time under Klopp, particularly this season, building to a performance like that, and they've done it multiple times. Mourinho can't just pull a kind of aggressive press out of nowhere. You know, how many times have we seen Alexis doing this? Like, Alexis...
I don't think it's an aggressive press is what's needed. I don't think that's why Liverpool won that game.
Right.
I think that they isolated City's back three really well. And that's not from them pressing, that's from them counter-attacking. You take the first goal was from James Milner playing a ball into the channel, isolated Mo Salah with Laporte, and then they scored a goal from it. And it's not about... And if you take the goal with the James Milner again, that was on a second ball. That wasn't them instigating a press out of the back. That was them pressing a second ball, winning a tackle, Oxlade-Chamberlain smashes it in. I don't think it's about high press. It's about being aggressive, and that's why I think Scott McTominay, Sanchez, and Matic would probably do better than Pogba, Matic, and McTominay. Because, like you mentioned there, Sanchez is the guy that needs to be aggressive. Sanchez needs to get United starting, and then United needs to follow. And that's something they've not been doing, is that team movement, which is what you said. But I think that's slightly different.
I agree, and then that's an important nuance. It really is. I really agree with that. But I think maybe I'm using the wrong language to try and make that point about the collective aggression, essentially, which I think that is one of the really big knocks against Mourinho. But anyway, you asked me about City. My opinion about City is that they're fine if you like that sort of thing.
McKola, who we worried about in this City team? Do you expect them to mix the tactics up? We saw them for pretty much the first time sort of changing. Oh yeah, they play free at the back a little bit, I guess, but pretty much one of the only times that we've seen them in a big game at least switch up a formation like that. Do you think we're going to see similar at weekend?
Didn't they do the same against Liverpool in the first game that they lost against Liverpool? Right,
no, I think it was the same formation they always play.
Oh, okay. I thought they did, and then I thought you repeated it, and then they lost again. But Sterling didn't start midweek, so I'm guessing he'll start against us. I'm guessing they'll have a pretty strong team, because we talk about Manchester City. What are their positives? They've got a great squad. They can bring people like Bernardo Silva in, who I'm guessing didn't start midweek. I didn't watch the game. I've seen bits and bobs from it, but I didn't watch it. So, yeah, Manchester City are great. Aguero's a big miss, because I consider him to be the best striker in the league. I know Harry Kane's been up there at the moment, but Sergio Aguero, if he's out, is a big miss. Gabriel Jesus, he looked frustrated recently. Will he provide the same problems to a back four that? But then you look at our back four, and even if City do play a weakened side, like, what have they got to be scared of in our defensive line?
Eric Bailly.
Yeah, Eric Bailly.
Eric Bailly! Eric Bailly! Eric Bailly! Eric Bailly!
We're likely to play young.
Eric Bailly! Eric Bailly!
Yeah, Eric Bailly's going to score. United are going to win.
Right, Adam, give us your score prediction, please.
1-0 United, title race back on.
Yeah! Paul, give us your score prediction, please.
3-0 United, title guaranteed.
Yes, sir. Dave, give us your score prediction, please.
You don't want to hear about who is good for City or not?
No. We've gone nearly an hour.
I was just going to say, there's a player called Leroy Sané that we really need to watch out for against Liverpool. Fantastic. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 chances created, 0 shots on target, 0 crosses completed, and he lost possession more than any other player on the pitch. So he's a guy that United need to watch out for. He's going to score a goal, but United are going to win 2-1.
Alex, don't really care what you think. Anyway, so, go on.
I'm going to go 2-0 City, title race over.
You You're not coming again. Right, thank you lot for watching us at home. Get your team predictions, score predictions, and all that caper in the comments. Remember, free FTD on Twitter. Make sure to tweet Adam because you can't tweet Paul. No one cares about Dave, and Alex is a strange one. Go and check him out on Twitter if you like. It's Alex Paris Hylton with a Y instead of an I. Because a Y instead of a P would be weird, wouldn't it? So anyway, thank you for tuning in as usual. Keep it locked to Full-Time Devils for all your match day content as usual. As United get the title race back on, kinda. We'll see you then. Laters.
Come on.